Hi, I'm Benjamin Sears. Welcome to Movement Snacks, bite-sized morsels of nourishing movement and meditation. I've been skiing a lot recently in Montana, so the front of my hips are getting a lot of work along with the quads. So today's practice is going to focus on hip extension. It's super simple, but it's going to be really powerful to relieve your lower back, open up the front of your hips, and also strengthen the backside of your body, your glutes and hamstrings. So we'll just get right into it. Lie down on your back. Bend your knees. Feet flat on the floor. Arms can come out to the side. You can put them on your low ribs. We're just first going to establish a nice long lower back. So inhale down into your belly. And on the exhale, pull your lower ribs together and press your belly button into the floor. And just see if, like in the next couple of breaths, you can get a little more feeling with each breath of more ribs together and more low belly down without over tucking your chin. You should feel like a nice stretch in your lower back. So once you feel like you've got that established, extend your left leg out and flex your right foot. You can move your heel a little bit more away from your hips. Put your right hand on your butt, and this is just for a sensory reference. So drive your right heel into the ground until you feel your butt engage, and keep pressing your low belly into the floor. So your glutes engage to do hip extension. We're kind of turning on awareness there so that we can use it later in the practice. Reach through your left heel, and with each exhale, drive your heel into the ground, pull your lower belly in, and try to, at the same time, lengthen your back, but keep driving down with your right heel so that maybe you feel that you're able to kind of tilt your pelvis this way from the pressure of your right heel down. That's your glutes turning on hip extension, and you might even feel like a little stretch in the front of your hip. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Drive heel down, keep pressing through your heel. I feel my right low back lengthening. Roll to your left side, put your left hand underneath your head, bend your knees. Your knees are in line with your hips, and then open your right knee to the side. Start to circle your knee behind you, internally rotating your hip, and then pause when you get right here. Now, keep your right hand on your lower back and pull your low belly in so your low back is real straight, and then that same feeling from the glutes, reach back through your heel for 5 breaths. Don't let the knee open up. Keep your knee in. Almost the feeling is that your ankle is higher than your knee. Exhale. Tuck tailbone, reach through your heel. I feel a stretch through here, and butt is really active. 2 more breaths. So as you kick your heel back, try to tuck your tailbone and bring your hips forward. And then just come up. Left foot comes in, right knee behind you with the foot pointed. Get on your left forearm. Lift your hips, kick the floor, engage your butt, feel a stretch here, and then bring your arm up for a side stretch. Wrap your shoulder. So this is not so much a back bend. Feel for kicking down through your foot to tuck your tailbone so the front of your leg is actually working in the kick and the back of your hip is also working, and you'll feel that nice stretch in the front of your right thigh and action in your left hip. Cool, sit down, just come back onto your back. Again, feet down flat. This time, right leg extends out, left heel presses down, left hand to your butt. Get that butt to work without arching your back. So we want no gap here. So belly in. And we stay here for about 30 seconds, just activating your left hip. Reach through your right foot. With each breath, ramp up a little bit more intensity of the pressure down through your heel. Some people need to pull backwards with the heel a little bit to feel the muscles turn on in the back of the leg, but we're trying to focus more so on the glutes than on the hamstrings. So it's really more a push down, maybe even a push away. And again, belly crushes the floor. A few more moments here. Again, try to use more and more strength as the time goes on. Last one. And then you'll see my back now. Roll to your right, knees in line with your hips, hand underneath your head, left hand on your lower back to keep it straight. Open the knee, internally rotate your hip, circle your leg behind you, pause. Now keep this area really long. 5 breaths. Each exhale, you're trying to reach your heel backwards without arching your back. So pull your lower belly in, reach through your heel. Feel for your butt really working. Lower back nice and long. Maybe a stretch feeling in the front of your hip. One more exhale. low belly and heel back, and then come up. Now this foot comes behind, lean onto your right elbow, lift your hips by pushing down with your shoulder blade, bring your left arm up into that side stretch. And the more that you kick down with this foot, the more that you'll get a stretch in the front of the hip by scooping your pelvis underneath you. You can also pull your right heel into your left knee and kind of reach your left knee into your right heel, and that'll give you a nice boundary for the stretch. Come on down onto your hands and knees, round lower back, head forward, right foot back, left foot back, plank pose, and then downward facing dog. And I told you this practice is going to be really, really simple, so we're just going to go right to it. So now step your left foot forward, bend your back knee down, left hand goes all the way to your left foot. I actually have a timer over here. We're going to be in this lunge stretch for a little while, so back yourself up. You don't have to keep the 90 degrees at the knee. In fact, if you need to back off it a little bit to be able to get more posterior tilt so that you feel more hip stretch, less low back, that's fine. Left hand goes on the inside of your knee. Your back toes can be tucked like this. I feel like it gives me a little more grounding, a little more power, but if that's uncomfortable, you can also point your foot. Now, push your left knee into your left hand and use that to pull your right hip forward and fold at your left hip. That'll isolate the stretch more in the hip. And now for a minute, pull gently forward with your right knee and gently back with your left foot. That'll activate the front of your hip where you're stretching. Keep bringing tailbone down, and just like we were working earlier, low belly stays in. So we've got about another 30 seconds in this stretch. So keep your chin up, keep your lower belly in, and then you can actually magic square the pelvis here. So 1, tailbone down, 2, right knee forward, 3, left hip fold slightly, 4, left knee in, 5, perineum straight towards the floor, 6, bring your right sitting bone around in a counterclockwise direction, so it goes out to its own side. And then 7, right hip forward, the front of the right hip. 8, go across your coccyx to your left sitting bone, move that out to its own side and forward. And then 9, just imagine your 2 knees move together. Continue the pull of the front foot back and the back knee forward. You probably will feel that the stretch is ramping up here. Like, I'm not super deep far forward, but I'm really isolating the stretch here in this hip. We've got 5 more seconds to go, and then we're going to do what's called a regressive angle isometric, regressing the angle in the back side of my hip. So put your right hand on your butt, and now start to push back through your right heel, keeping the pressure between knee and hand here so that you stay square, and keep this right butt engaged. I know that this is going to get intense in your hip. It's a little bit of a sneaky drill because it doesn't look like much, but it will feel like a lot. So try to keep that right butt engaged the whole time, kind of drive yourself deeper into the stretch, but don't just drive forwards. Think that you're turning the steering wheel of your pelvis to the left as well, so that you're getting this nice isolated opening in the front of the hip. You'll probably feel that your butt, it's like works, and then it doesn't work, and then it works, and it doesn't work. So I'm just going to continue talking to you to try to keep you in the stretch. So if you can go a little bit deeper into the stretch, but I don't want you to just arch your lower back in order to do that. We've only got 5 seconds left. You guys are doing great. We did 1 full minute with each direction of the isometric, pushing apart now for 3, 2, 1. Okay, hands down. We're going to make it even more active now. Both knees down. Now, right forearm down, if you can. If you need both hands on the ground, that's fine. Tuck your left toes. Left hand goes on your lower back. Lift your right leg. So that left hand on the lower back is so that you know that you're not arching and crunching your back like this. So just like we were working on earlier, low ribs in, low belly in. Now 5 breaths, each exhale, reach your heel higher and tuck your tailbone. You might get a cramp in your butt or in your hamstring. So now, without the assistance of gravity or the floor, we're moving into that active hip extension. So what I like to think is inhale, tuck tailbone, look forward. Exhale, low ribs in, heel high. Inhale, tuck tailbone, push down with your elbow. Exhale, heel higher. I'm trying to get a stretch in the front, lengthen my back. Exhale, heel higher. Okay, now, this is going to get a little bit harder, but you can stay in the same variation. Or you can slide your right knee back and sit down on your left heel. If this hurts your left knee or anything, just do the previous variation. It's just as effective. Bend your right knee, hand on your back. Same thing, 5 exhales.
Each time, trying to lift your heel a little higher without lifting your hips off of your other heel. Head up. Knee in. If you're doing this in the original quadruped position, same thing. Last exhale. Good. Knees down, hands down. One time, round your back. And then pull your heart through. Step your feet back. 1, 2. Bend your knees, lift your hips, downward facing dog. And then we go right to the other side. Right foot all the way forward. Bend your back knee down. Again, back up out of the stretch enough that you can make your back pretty straight. Right hand goes on the inside of your knee. I've got us on the clock. Press your knee into your hand into your knee again so that you don't point your pelvis over here to the left, but steer yourself right straight ahead on what's called the longitudinal axis of the pose. Now pull back with your front foot, pull forward with your left knee so that you engage the hip flexor at the end range of the stretch. This is called a progressive angle isometric contraction, so it's a really good way to get strong at the end of your range. Keep your adductors engaged on the right, and all you have to do that is use this boundary and push against it. Got about 25 seconds to go. Keep the stretch alive. So it's an almost passive stretch, but like 20 to 30% effort, pulling back with the front foot, pulling forward with the front knee, to keep finding that left hip coming around and underneath for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now left hand goes to your butt and then push backwards. So imagine you're pulling the mat apart from your front foot to your back knee and slide your knee backwards even though it doesn't move. And maybe you can come a little forward into the lunge, but come forward from underneath. And then remember that there's not just a forward movement of the pose, but there's this slight rotation of turning the steering wheel of your pelvis to the right so that your left hip is moving towards the inside of your right knee. You can magic square your right foot here. That's a cool one. So go to the center of the base of your heel, go to the ball of your foot. Go to the middle of the outer edge of the foot, go to your pinky toe knuckle. Go to the center of the arch, go to the inner edge of the heel, go to the inside of the arch, go over the top of the foot to the outer edge of the heel, go up in between big and second toe knuckle, circle up your foot, and then keep pushing your feet apart. Again, maybe you drive a little bit more forward into the lunge without losing that left hip over the left. Keep your right knee pressing in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Down to your hands and knees. Same as we did on the other side. Forearms come down. Both forearms can stay on the floor, absolutely. Or if you have the strength in your left side, keep this elbow pressing down. Right hand goes on your low back. Left leg comes up. Now the key is not to arch your back because we're trying to isolate and optimize the left hip without compensation from the spine. It's not that back bending is bad, it's just that it's unproductive for this drill. Now 5 breaths. Each exhale, heel goes a little higher. Notice that when I lift my heel higher, I don't do it by dropping my spine. Exhale, low belly in, heel higher. So feel that this part of your back is lengthening. Pick your head up a little. 2 more breaths. Inhale, tuck tailbone. Exhale, heel higher. Now, if you want to progress the drill a little bit, right knee comes down and out to the side. Sit down on your heel, so heel and perineum come together. This is not essential. You can repeat the same position. Bend your left knee. Right hand on your lower back. Lift your knee. You have to really fight with your belly to keep your back long. 3 more breaths. Last one, inhale, tuck tail. Exhale, heel higher. Bring both knees forward. Again, one time round. And then bring your knees together and sit down between your heels, which you may be way better at than I am. And now, squeeze your knees together, rotate your thighs inwards, pull your low belly in, and push the floor down with your feet so that the feeling is that your hips are going to lift just like a millimeter off the floor. You should feel the front of your hips engage there. Keep your low belly in. We're gonna hold here for about another 20 seconds. Just still, it's like this slight lift of the hips. For those of you that can put your hips on the floor, you just come up like the smallest amount, like just that you can slide a paper underneath your hips. Keep your low belly in, so that should make your back feel long, so I don't really want you here. Now inhale, hold your breath for a moment, internally rotate your thighs by squeezing your knees together, and now try to pull your heels up off of the floor, pulling yourself into the stretch. So it's like you're trying to pull your hips into the floor. Whether your hips are touching the floor or not, you can pull and get that feeling of activation in the back of the legs. If this is too painful for your knees, you can always put something underneath your hips and then just use that as a boundary. Got about 15 more seconds here, trying to lift feet up and sink hips down. Keep pulling low belly in for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then come forward. Lie down on your belly, bend your right knee, drive your right knee into the floor so that you can tuck your tailbone, straighten your low back as much as you can, and then inhale and pull your low ribs in and try to lift your right knee without arching your lower back. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Extend that leg. So hopefully during that you feel that you're getting a little stretch in the front of the head, still keeping the length in the low back. Bend your left knee. This is a hard one. And push down with your knee into the floor. Use that to help you tuck your tailbone, straighten your low back as much as you can. Take an inhale. And lift your left heel. Even if just the effort to lift is fine. Keep the low back straight. It's so much abdominal work. You can see I'm really hollowing out here. 3, 2, 1. Extend your legs out. Push yourself up. Come onto your knees. Put your hands on your thighs. So if you were to stand up and walk around, you would probably feel this nice sensation of being sort of propelled forward by the back of your hips. It's a really empowered feeling. So check in with that when you get up. Hands on your thighs and close your eyes. And we'll close just with a magic square of the pelvis. So for 1, inhale down to your tailbone. And exhale there. 2, inhale all the way out and forward to your right knee. Imagine just moving slightly away from your tailbone. Exhale there. 3, inhale up to your left hip bone. Make a little fold there. So there's this like slight untuck of the pelvis. Exhale there. 4, inhale from your left hip bone in the front, forward to your left knee. Imagine those 2 points moving in opposite directions. Exhale there. 5, inhale to your perineum in between your anus and genitals and point it straight towards the floor. Rise up through the crown of your head. 6, inhale from your perineum out to your right hip. Just kind of imagine that it moves out to its own side. Exhale there. 7, from your outer right sitting bone, inhale up to your left hip bone and find a little fold there just like you did on the left side. And then for 8, as your right hip bone kind of lifts and tilts forward, inhale out to your left sitting bone. So you just make a little tiny bit of space in between the previous and the subsequent point. And now 9, inhale up to your knees, the third eye of your pelvis, bring it all together. Exhale there. And now 10, inhale from the center of your pelvis at your perineum, 5, out to the circumference of your lower body. And back to center. Relax your belly. Relax your eyes in their sockets. Relax your belly again.
Relax your shoulders just a little bit. And take a moment in which you don't have to follow any thoughts. You can just be in the center of the conclusion of this short practice and ease your mind. When you're ready, bring your hands to prayer if you like. Open your eyes. And notice how it feels when you go for a walk. Hope you have a great day and I hope you enjoyed the practice. Peace.